RollerCoaster Tycoon 3, the beginning of full, three-dimensional park simulation. Released in 2004 as part of the franchise of the same name, after 1 and 2, RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 was the first in its series to use full 3D graphics. As much as I could talk about this game all day, I'm actually not here to give a history lesson. Important to this topic, however, RollerCoaster Tycoon has always been about building theme parks, and many players jump to the opportunity at building a roller coaster as their first ride, regardless of whether they play a park with an objective, or in the case of RollerCoaster Tycoon 3, the sandbox mode. As appealing as it may seem, first-time players may either find the task of building a good coaster either daunting, time-consuming, or they just can't understand the controls. So where else can they go to get their satisfaction? The pre-made coaster blueprints, of course. Unfortunately, even the blueprints are cleverly hidden. Clicking on the folder next to the design you want will take you to the list. In this video, I will explore one of the worst designs in terms of ratings. I am talking about the stand-up coaster design, Mangler. However, this coaster is not unlocked from the start. To unlock Mangler, players would have to progress through the career mode. Particularly, complete all objectives, Apprentice, Entrepreneur, and Tycoon. All in a single level, Ghost Town. A relatively easy level that rewards you a good coaster with an extreme intensity. But why such a high intensity, you may ask? Well, that's why we're here. Let's go into Coaster Designer and test this one out, shall we? Okay, so we're here in the Coaster Designer section of RollerCoaster Tycoon 3, and what I'm going to do here is go here, scroll all the way down. Now, as you can see, I have my menu zoomed out and minimized because I kind of like my RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 menus like that. It's all up to you how you do it. I'm going to go into the folder button for stand-up coaster, and we're going to go into Mangler, because that's what we are looking at today. Now, these ratings, as you can probably tell, they're not that great, especially that 10.85 extreme intensity rating. Most of you may have already know where this is going, but just for those that don't, here's where it is. I'll just go ahead and place this, and say what you want about the design itself. We're not here about the design, we're here about the technical and safety thing that's wrong with the Mangler itself. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let this play. If I can go ahead and just give this a good old test, and we shall see what we got. I mean, so far so good to have the little, like, hairpin turn like that to start off, like into chain lift. Chain lift isn't too bad, I tell you. Just as long as you keep it at a speed that maintains its, as long as you keep it at a speed that excites the guests a little bit, that's all that matters here. But here we go with the drop. Loop-de-loop to start off the excitement. Nice little cobra roll here to get things going too. A little overturn there. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. Another loop-de-loop. Not too bad with the amount of inversions. Typical expectation for a thrilling for thrill seekers at least. Nice slow down towards the end. Enter the block break. Hold on a sec, I need to see that real quick. Oh goodness. Yeah, that's a bad one. Time for some fixing. As was seen in the initial test, when the coaster train hits the first block break, the train zooms off to the station at an alarming speed, giving guests the risk of injury. Now, I'm no medical expert, but if anyone knows the term for this, please post it in the comments for others to know. Anyway, later in the video, we'll get to the technical details for this specific block break. But for those not willing to fix the break, here's a temporary solution with actual guests as an example. Okay, so now we are here in sandbox mode. I'm just about to place down the Mangler. Now, I'm going to do a little thing to set things up, because I know some of you may already have your own little things that go with it, and I hope that some of you are already thinking of this too. Now, this may only be a temporary fix for those that actually don't know how to actually build, like, or repair coasters, or even do trial and error and stuff. But what I'm doing here is I'm gonna do a little inside work. So this is not a temporary thing. What I am going to do is I'm gonna add 3 coasters. Originally, when you place it down, it starts you off with 1 train. I'm gonna increase it to 3 trains, and I'm gonna do a quick force. On the operating mode section, see how the minimum wait time and maximum wait time are by default? I'm going to increase the minimum wait time just so it roughly matches the 120 seconds, aka 2 minutes, that is the max. And you'll see why in a sec. Because you'll see this train leave the block break soon. So now after a while, we've just got a few guests on our first ride. Those are still waiting up. And what's going to happen now is, if timed well, the block break should keep guests locked in that position and hold them there, even though it was going fast to start with. Let's see if that holds. Yep, the block break holds the guests there as expected. Nothing really problematic about this. And this is how it should be. Not gonna lie. And that release is how it's supposed to be as well. Now, truthfully, I could have trial and errored the time frame, but I just wanted to give you an example of how to do things. 120 minutes would be a bit too much for guests to even be waiting on a coaster. Who would want to be on a coaster for 5 minutes? Who would want to be on that coaster for 5 minutes? That was just a theoretical thing, but play around with it as you choose, and you'll see you'll find the same results. But for those not wanting to take that lazy approach, another solution for those well-versed in this game's coaster editor is to reduce the speed of the block break. But first, how fast did the developers set this break? Let's take a look. Before we move on, let me quickly go into the construction mode for this thing, the editor, and let's see what the speed on this thing is. I'm going to start by saying, first off, the lift chain speed is fantastic at a mere 6 miles an hour. There's nothing wrong with the chain lift speed, and can easily be played around with as long as it doesn't ruin the rest of the coaster. But the block break here, this particular block break, had been the problem from the start, and the speed here... I don't know who at Frontier decided this was okay at 67.11 miles an hour, but it definitely ruined the intensity rating on this. Let's fix this. Which I may have already done. When I first worked on repairing my copy's version of Mangler back in 2021, I took a trial and error approach of setting speeds. What I found was that at a certain speed, the max speed of the overall coaster overtook the max speed of the section after this break. And then after the final speed, which I'll reveal shortly, the ratings stopped changing altogether, mostly because those ratings came from the overall design. With those in mind, how fast did I set the break? You can definitely see there's a little addition here. I'm doing this on purpose. Mangler 2 is my version of which the track layout hasn't changed, but I've changed the block break. And in a few moments, I'm going to put both of them side by side and compare. You can definitely see that these two are offset, but on the left, you will see that this is the original Mangler with the sped-up block brake just before it. And then on the right is the newer version with the block brake reduced. I will now show off a quick test of the newer version. Now, because the track layout's the same, you're just going to skip right ahead to the block brake and show you what changed. Alright, we're coming into the block brake now, and see how that's a much more manageable speed compared to the last time? Let's do a comparison. Before, the block brake was at 67.11 miles an hour, as you can see on the bottom left. Let's move over to the new version. And after some rough research, a trial and error, and some play testing with the excitement, intensity ratings, and all those other ratings, the new speed that I set the block brake to on Mangler 2 is 22.37 miles per hour. And with test results improved as well, it brought the intensity rating down to a manageable level and kicked back up the excitement. Your guests are going to love it after this, but this is just me. If you have something better than just taking care of the block brake, then please feel free to post down in the comments. We'd love to share how we fix this. And please, if you notice any other problems with some of the RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 pre-made rides, do not hesitate to do them yourself. This is just one example of dev oversight, if you will. Of course, we can't close today's video without another technical pitfall of this fix: file integrity. Unfortunately, saving over Mangler in the system's Coaster Designs folder, like I did for this video, may cause the file to revert to its previous broken state when verifying files through either Steam or Epic Store. If you also overwrote the original design, I recommend you do not take the Verify Integrity approach through Steam or the Verify Files button on Epic. Internal file manipulation may not be available on Nintendo Switch copies. If the resulting overwrite does get reverted, however, make sure you have a backup. Or, alternatively, even if you don't want to take that risk, try saving to your Documents folder instead as an alternate title. Here you can see I saved to my Documents folder after recording all of this by saving it as a title of Mangler Fixed Edition. Thank you so much for watching this video, which I can now safely say is the final major project on this YouTube channel. If you want more content from me in the future, make sure you follow my Twitch channel over at twitch.tv/Jalen Folf. I will also provide a link to the channel in the description for convenience. For those that stuck with me during these past 15 years of content creation, thank you. I look forward to seeing you live on Twitch very soon. Until next time.